Double Tribe, how we doing today? This evening for me, we have a handstand class. So this is going to be a little bit of education first, talking about how to achieve the best handstand. Then it's going to be some drills that I think are really important to know when learning how to do a handstand safely. And what obviously you need some wrist work, you need shoulder strength, you need a lot of upper body strength, you need a lot of core strength. So we're going to be working on a lot of that. 2 circuits. Circuit 1, circuit 2, and then at the end we'll do some handstand practice. I'm limited for handstand practice here, but I'll do the best I can. Hopefully my feet aren't too dirty and they don't scrub up these lovely white walls, but that's how the class is going to go. So first of all, in terms of education with the handstand, you want to try and have your body as straight as possible, obviously. So we'll talk about drills that you can do to practice at the end of class, as well as, getting the fundamentals and the prerequisites to be able to do the handstand. What I want you to think of when we're doing the handstand, and I'll probably talk about this again when we start to practice it at the end of class, once everything's a lot more warmed up, but think of everything's pointed really straight. You're trying to grow and push into the ground and grow away from the ground. That's a really good tip that I was told once by an ex-gymnast when I was in the military. She was a gymnast for Great Britain. Literally, you're pushing the ground away as hard as you can as you grow and point your toes towards the ceiling. We'll think about all that before we get started. And also, a really big one is your pelvic control. A lot of people, when doing a handstand, their head tilts up because they don't want to fall forwards or backwards, so they're looking where they're going, which causes that arch in the spine. So instead of a nice straight handstand, it kind of looks like a bit of a U shape or a banana shaped handstand. We're going to try and do some drills to eradicate that. But first of all, as always, equipment that's needed. You're going to need a number of yoga blocks. You're also going to need, well, you don't need, but tennis balls will be handy for a lot of tension. You won't really need some weights, but you can use ankle weights or clubs if you want to for some of the movements, but really, really not necessary. Water. That's about it. So first of all, as always, we'll get started with the cars. We're just going to do upper body cars. So if you stay in whatever position you like, standing, kneeling, collapse kneeling, we're going to go for cervical spine. So actually I'm going to come up for my toes, help my toes out. Arms down by the side, shoulders down away from the ears, try and touch the floor, or I can just about touch the floor, and then tuck the chin. Look round, rotate to the left, laterally tilt or side bend, extend all the way around, keep the shoulders still, just work through the neck, rotate to the right, laterally tilt or side bend, and flex. One more this way. Did I close that window? Yes, I did. Again, as I always say, change direction, sorry, just 2 reps each way. Find your end, fight for more, maximize your cervical spine, your neck, minimize shoulders, scapula, everything else. One more rep. These are not your morning reps. They are reps where we're really trying to gain some positivity, some warm up fluid going there, and we're really trying to get the body ready for the session. Next, T-spine. So I love T-spine collapse just because it blocks off those hips. You can do it standing if you wish. You can grab a block if you wish. Tennis balls, whatever you want to do. What I've actually been trying lately is doing the T-spine cars, but keeping my eyes on my head, rather than really flexing down with my neck, just trying to concentrate on the T-spine element. So you can give that a go if you want. So you flex, squeeze the glutes, don't let anything hips below move, or pelvis below move, and rotate to the left, but keep eyes forwards if you want to try that. Side bend, extend, all the way around, rotate, side bend, flex. One more. Keep the glutes tight, everything tight, change direction. Focus on segmentally moving, working as much as we can. through the T-spine. It's very hard to keep your eyes forwards and your head still. I failed straight away. If you tried it, it's good to experiment. It's good to try different things. Stay where we are. We're going to move on to scapula. Grab those tennis balls. If you want added tension, always good. Elevate or lift up, retract or go back, depress, go down, protract forwards, up. Squeeze the tennis balls as well. Back, down, forwards, up, back, down, forwards. Just work through the scapula. Doing 4 reps and then changing direction. So that's me changing direction now. Really push those outer ranges. For scapula, you can do this and really not concentrate. And it doesn't really feel that difficult, but if you really concentrate, really push, really try and hit those outer limits, it becomes very difficult. Wearing long trousers was a mistake. I love these trousers, they're so comfy, but they are hot and sweaty. Shoulder cars, we're going to do both arms at the same time. I'm going to stay kneeling, but you can also, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do 2 double arm, I can't speak, and then we're going to do 2 single arm from like a collapsed position, because that's going to work a little bit of shoulder flexion, which is really important for the handstand. So squeeze those tennis balls if you've got them, arms nice and straight, externally rotate, squeeze in, keep externally rotating. I did arms today at the gym and chest, so my shoulders are sore. Flex, keep rotating, internally rotate, really push. Try and hug someone behind you as much as you can. Keep the rib cage down, don't flare. Pinkies are facing forwards, reverse. So if you think of this as maybe like 40 to 50% tension, then this rep, ramp it up to 60 or 70. Squeeze that tennis ball harder. Rotate more, like you're wringing out a really wet t-shirt and you're trying to squeeze all that water out of it. Change, reverse, so hold that internal rotation until you keep going up until you can't go anymore. Then you externally rotate and squeeze that rotation as much as you can. Try not to compensate elsewhere, just working through the shoulder. Okay, come down to your hands and knees. You can drop one of those tennis balls. Right arm first. 2 reps, but just in this position. So this position is going to challenge flexion more, so it's going to feel a lot more difficult, but here we go. So rotate, squeeze in, up into flexion, keep rotating externally, and then internally rotate and drive back. Keep rotating, come down to the side, keep rotating internally as we reverse. Get to a point when you can't go anymore, externally rotate and drive up high as you can, then squeeze in as hard as you can. One more. Maximize shoulder rotation, minimize spinal movement, you can try and minimize your scapular movement, but your scapula is always going to move. But if you're aware of it, trying to keep it locked in place, it's just going to cause a little bit more tension. It's going to help. Other side, off we go. Rotate, squeeze in, flex, rotate. Now internally rotate, extend and abduct as far up, touch that ceiling, keep rotating, change direction, externally rotate, try and touch the ceiling again, scrape the ear if you can, come back down, one more rep. My arms are fried from this earlier. I've literally done a really tough gym session. We'll do a little bit of elbows. We're obviously going to do wrists. Then we're going to do a bit of spinal segmentation. Then we're going to crack on. So with the wrists, just stay where you are. Squeeze those tennis balls. Try to supinate, so your thumbs are going out, like you're sort of twisting and opening a door, and then lift up. Keep holding that rotation. Then change, rotate in, thumbs are pointing down, and then rotate out, lift, rotate, down. Hold that rotation in and lift, rotate out, back down. Squeeze the tennis balls if you've got them, if not, make a fist. As you come down, I just want you to put arms out to the side, nice and straight, squeeze those tennis balls. If you haven't got tennis balls, put your palms out nice and flat, and then wrist cars from this position. So think shoulders down. Try and imagine like you're pushing almost scapula forwards, like pushing armpit forwards, hold that position, and then wrists. Oh, probably still the most painful for me. Just burns, fatigue straight away. Oh, try and keep everything really still, and just move from the wrist. Oh my gosh, tough, sweaty already, sweaty Betty. Okay, hands and knees, a little bit of spinal segmentation, and we're gonna crack on and I'll explain circuit 1. So flex everything, and then we're gonna start from the head this time. Lift the chin, keep everything else flexed or tucked, and slowly make your way up from the top of your spine, trying to work one segment at a time, all the way into extension, and then start from the head. So tuck the chin, focus on sticking that bum in the air, all the way as you flex down, and tuck the bum last. One more. So squeeze that tuck as you try to extend in the T-spine, all the way down to your lower back. Tuck the chin. If you're going slower than me, fantastic, just don't go faster. If you get stuck somewhere, try for a couple of seconds, really use your brain to try and figure out what you need to do to move. If you can't, then just let other parts of your spine help that movement. One more rep. It's usually the third rep I get a little pop in my T-spine, which is fantastic. Great stuff. Grab some water if you need it. Circuit 1 is going to be some pelvic tilts, really, because that's so important in the handstand. Second exercise is hollow rocks or hollow holds. Really tough. I don't want to do them. I trained abs earlier as well as my arms, so but we're going to do it anyway. And then C is prone shoulder external rotation pels and rails. So you're going to need some yoga blocks. What I would like you to do is, first of all, figure out, depending on how many yoga blocks you've got. Let me see if I've got even ones. If you've only got 2, then it's going to be a bit of a struggle. If you do only have 2, you can find another way to do pels and rails for the external rotation of the shoulder, whether that be holding a stick, finding that external rotation and doing it that way, pushing against the stick, away from the stick. You can do it if you're in a gym setting, or if you've got something to hold on to. For example, this could be a little bit awkward, but something like this, external rotation, as much as you can, hold on, push against it, push away from it. Stretching strap, something like that. Ooh, that might be pretty good actually. But with yoga blocks or books or table or anything, that's probably going to be the best option, especially if you're quite new to mobility training. So what I want you to do first of all is figure out your position. So will we rapid fire both arms? For the handstand, you should probably work both at the same time, because you're not going to be handstanding with one arm. So for me, I know I'm probably going to need, I might even just need 2, to be honest. We'll see how I go, but something like this, right? So you're lying on your belly, elbows can go on some blocks. You don't actually need these, you know, you can go on the floor. find a position like so. If you can lift off loads, which I kind of can, then I should be adding more blocks. That's going to be too high, so if that's the case, you can do something like this. I'm very OCD, so I've got to have it nice and perfect. That's ex-military for you. And, you know, if I can lift off here whilst keeping scapula nice and still, oh, I definitely can't. So that's my position. And you can always work in, you know, different positions. It doesn't have to be maximally end range. If you've only got one block, just strengthen that range or lift the block up a little bit. There's lots of different things you can do. But this is the position we're going to be in for the third exercise. Pails pushing down as hard as we can. Rails lifting off as hard as we can. Going to go for 2 or 3 rounds of that, plus some lift offs at the end. So if you need to, pause the video, you know, find that position that you need. And then first exercise, pelvic tilts. Very easy, well, not very easy, but easier than some other things. Basically, I would just like the spinal segmentation, but just focusing on the lower part of your spine and your pelvis. Tucking under, squeezing, then lifting up or doing, you know, the butt lift, really pushing it and just feeling the difference, because when people do a handstand, they usually end up like this, anteriorly tilted. What I want you to think of when you do the handstand is keeping that core engaged. I don't want you to be fully flexed, but you want to have that core engaged and almost a little bit of a glute squeeze so that you're stuck in this position, so you're nice and straight. And that will become more obvious when we do the handstand. So just practice a couple of times. What I want you to do is you go full flexion, full extension, and then find your neutral, squeeze your glutes a little bit. Full flexion, extension, or anterior tilt, and then neutral, squeeze glutes, squeeze core. One more, so posterior tilt or flex, anterior tilt or extend, and then neutral, squeeze glutes, squeeze core. Good. Keep that core. Remember what that core felt like. Come down onto your back. And then a hollow rock or a hollow hold is pretty challenging. So if it's really, really hard, just do the hold. If you want to, you can start to do the rock. What you're going to do, start off with start off like, probably like this with your hands down by your side. I want you to point your toes, because that's what you do in a handstand, and squeeze up. So it's nice and tight here. Hands down by your side. If you want a little bit more challenging, you lift your hands overhead. That's a hollow hold. So that's going to work your core and keep you nice and tight. The hollow rock is literally rocking and staying really still, really stable, so that you can rock without breaking. You know, if you rock incorrectly and you're anteriorly tilted, your body's kind of going to get split in two. I want you to focus on pointing the toes, it's hard to talk, squeezing the core and rocking like so. Try, keep going, that's really burnt, so try and do about 10 of those. I'll just keep talking and keep explaining whilst you keep going through it. Try like 2, I'll tell you what, we'll just do it together. That's kind of what I demonstrated, so you should have done 1 set by now. If you're still going, fantastic. If you are still going, have a rest now. Then we're going to do 2 more of those, and then we're going to go into the pails and rails. So I want you to, it doesn't really matter how much you do. What's most important is the form. If you feel your pelvis start to sort of, your lower abdomen start to break or lose tension and you start to anteriorly tilt, then stop, have a breather, go again. So whether you're doing the rocks or the hold, It's up to you. Find that position. Take a deep breath in. Squeeze, lift up, point toes, hands here or here. And if you want to rock, start to rock. Try and do 10 rocks if you can. There's 10. I can't talk doing that. I'm not that good. Little bit of a breather. Catch your breath lying down. If you want, whilst you're recovering, just practice those tilts again. Literally, anterior tilt, posterior tilt, neutral squeeze. You should feel abs, glutes. This is the position that I want you to focus on when we go into the handstand drills. Okay, one more set. Deep breath in, squeeze and tuck, belly button sucked in, point toes, arms in your position. Off we go. If you're not doing the rocks, just hold. Hold for as long as you can. That's still hard. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was a bad day to do abs. Good shiz. Okay, elbows then. Not elbows, shoulders. This is the finishing of circuit 1, then we've got circuit 2, and then got a bit of handstand practice, got the fun stuff at the end. Okay, so find that position that you are comfortable with. For the external rotation, we're not really trying to gain, I mean, we should really actually be trying to gain a little bit more. For me, in this position, it's very difficult for me to feel a stretch unless I push down a little bit. Like for me, I've never really been able to really feel a stretch, you know, like I can on internal rotation or flexion or other things. It's tough. If you can feel a stretch, pause the video, hang out here. If you want more range of motion, pause the video, try and find that stretch more. We're going straight into the pals and rails. Whew. So deep breath in, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core, scapula's nice and tight, and start to drive down, rotating or imagining like you're rotating internally. Squeeze those shoulders, crush the floor, crush the blocks, the books, whatever you've got, crush that table. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Imagine like you're lifting off those blocks, but don't compensate, don't lift your head, don't lift your spine, don't let your scapula move. Just try and wring out that rotation in the shoulder. You may cramp, it may feel uncomfortable. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A little bit of recovery. So if you do feel a stretch, great. Try and sink a little bit deeper into it if you can. It's a hard one to sink deeper into because you're already on the floor. But just recover. That's the most important thing. Go back to your breath. Next round. Straight in, rapid fire. Deep breath in. Glutes, core. 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Pails, driving down, ramping up to your greatest and safest effort. Keep going. 5, 3, 2, 1. Reverse. Try and lift off. I love this feeling. It's one of my favourites actually. Scapula, I'm pushing down. I'm trying to keep it still as I externally rotate and lift these blocks if I can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. couple of deep breaths here. Then what I want you to do is lower the position you're in ever so slightly. So for me, it's like this. So we're going to do we're going to do like lift offs, but with a hold 5 seconds, 5 times. So like lifting off and squeezing for 5 seconds and then back down. Focus on scapular control. It should only lift off a tiny bit. So don't let it lift off too much. If it does lift off too much, try and raise the blocks a little bit. 3, 2, 1, lift off and squeeze. 3, 2, 1, back down slowly, lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off. Fight for more. Don't let it drop. If it drops, keep trying though. Lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I always lie. Last one, 10 seconds, off we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. If it's dropping, keep fighting, don't give up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My left one always goes first. Oh, slowly come out of that. Hopefully you've left a sweat patch on the mat. Have a bit of water if you need. Circuit B or 2. Blocks you will still need, so keep them somewhere. Oh, probably got a big mark on my head. Next, we have some wrist and external rotation shoulder work, like sort of like a kinetic stretching or isometric movement path. Then we have shoulder flexion, pals and rails. Then we've got some handstand work. So for the shoulder flexion, it's going to be prone again. Yeah, you might need a stick as well, actually. I've just had a thought of a good exercise that will help. Stick or something to push against. You've done it probably, if you've been in this community for some time, you've probably done it in other classes. It's like eccentric work. But flexion, exactly the same. So lying down, both arms at the same time, and lifting up, finding that position. So for me, it's like probably about 2 blocks. If you want, ooh, you can hold a stick, and you can also push that stick into the blocks, which is great. Shoulder flexion, super important for handstands. So if you do have a stick and you just kind of want to use like something as one, if that makes sense, great. If you haven't got a stick, you can just use single arms. Great. So for the first exercise, hands and knees again. What I want you to think of is when you push the ground away in a handstand, it's almost like you're externally rotating a little bit. So we're going to work on that whilst we move through a kinetic stretch or isometric movement path, working on wrists as far forward as we can go. When we're in that position, we're going to push down and then try and lift off. And then push down, pushing the ground back, whilst concentrating on that rotation of the shoulder. And then in this position, again with the wrists, push down, lift off, but you're going to be able to lift off this time. Push down and then lift off, and keep that lift off as much as you can until your fingers touch the mat. Keep rotating and go forwards, and that's 1 rep. So I will talk you through. I'm not going to work really hard for me because I want to talk you through this, because it's, you know, you don't want to lose the spot where you're at. But the whole time through the movement, think you're kind of rotating shoulders and arms, screwing your hands into the ground, and then working on the wrists whilst always trying to maintain that rotation. You will want to stop because it will get fatiguing. I'll try and remind you if I can. We're going to go for 4 reps, back and forth. So first of all, start sort of neutral, rotate, push the ground away, so scapular protraction, rotate, and then push into the ground a little bit and lean forwards as much as you can. Keep pushing into the ground and then try and lift the wrists off the ground. 3, 2, 1. Push into the ground. 3, 2, 1. Try and lift off. 3, 2, 1. And push down. Keep that rotation. Keep pushing into the ground with your hands or your wrists as you go all the way down. Hold that position. Keep rotating arms and lift off. 3, 2, 1. Push down into the ground. 3, 2, 1. Lift off and squeeze as hard as you can. And push down. Squeeze, push as hard as you can. One more. Lift off. 3, 2, 1. Keep that rotation of shoulders and keep lifting off the ground as hard as you can. As they come to touch, lean forwards. Rotation, keep that. I nearly lost it, and now push into the ground. 3, 2, 1. Lift off. 3, 2, 1. Push in. 3, 2, 1. Lift off. 3, 2, 1. And push down. But this time, keep that rotation, remember, and lean back. Keep pushing into the ground. And now lift off. 3, 2, 1. Push down. 3, 2, 1. Should really start to be fatiguing now. Lift off. 2, 1. Push down. 3, 2, 1. And lift off and squeeze and hold and keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting as we come forwards until fingers touch, and then slowly lean forward. We've got one more. I said 4, we'll do 3 because it's tiring. Push down. 3, 2, 1. Try and lift off. 3, 2, 1. Push down. 2, 1. And try and lift off. 3, 2, 1. Now push down. Last rep. Keep rotating with the shoulders. Keep pushing the ground with wrists. And hold and lift off. 3, 2, 1. Push down. 3, 2, 1. Lift off. 3, 2, 1. And push down. 3, 2, 1. Last one. Lift off and come up. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing. And then relax. So then you should be really feeling it in wrists. They should feel kind of like a bit weak and nice, and for me it's like they kind of feel real floppy but nice. Shoulder flexion. So I believe this might be a little bit high, but we'll see. So lying down again. Doing classes laying down, I'm sorry if my mic sounds really loud, but there's not much I can do about it. So arms nice and straight. In your handstand position, a lot of people actually start really wide. You actually want pretty straight, you know, like your hands will feel quite close together. So that's the sort of position you're after. Can I lift off this position? No. To be fair, I might push the blocks together like so. Yes, so I can have my fists like this. Okay, so yeah, find a position, move the blocks away, you know, try and lift off. If you've got a partner or if you've got a mirror, it's difficult because your head's against the ground, but try and, you know, get the best sort of position you can. Again, focus on butt squeeze, core squeeze, 2 rounds of pails and rails. First, pails is pushing into the yoga blocks or into whatever you've got. Don't let your arms bend. Keep scapula nice and strong. Driving down. Don't go obviously really, really hard so that it hurts in like pinchy pain. You don't want any of that. You just want to really feel the fatigue. Once I say rails, try to imagine that you're lifting off and you really, really concentrate, because it's going to be really difficult to initiate this movement. Nothing's really going to happen, but feel it in top side of your shoulders all the way up. You should be feeling it, trying to lift off in fatigue. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in, ramping up, 30%,
40%, pushing down, 50, 60, 70, 80, and greatest and safest effort. Squashing whatever you're pushing down into. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse. Also keep arms straight, push away and lift off. Squeeze glutes. Oh, this is really tough. It may cramp in your upper back. I can feel it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh. Oh, relax if you can. I'm feeling it in my left scapula, left shoulder blade. I've got a knot there that's really stubborn, and it's like, what are you doing to me? Okay, arms should be pretty fatigued by now, and we have handstands, so we're just going to go straight into it. And then, you know, if you need to, you can pause the video before you practice a little bit of the handstands. I'd probably suggest doing that, actually, having like 5 minutes rest if you do have time. But for now, let's get this second one done. Deep breath in. 3, 2, 1, ramp up, pushing down. Crushing the ground, the table, the floor, the blocks. Ramping up, keeping the scapula really strong. Arms nice and straight. Feeling lats, feeling underside sort of armpits driving down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails. Don't let anything change position apart from your arms. Don't let your spine tilt. Don't let you lose the core strength. Keep the glutes squeezed. Lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Now what I want you to do is, whatever position you were in, remove some of those blocks. We're going to do exactly the same thing. The lift-offs, 5 by 5 seconds. And then I'm going to tell you to do 10 seconds at the end for the last one, because I'm a liar. Okay, 3, 2, 1, lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Everything you've got. Even if you fail and it touches the block, keep fighting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, rest. Oh. Slowly. Get. Oh my gosh. Okay, be careful. Pushing up, because that's a lot of fatigue. Oh. Oh. Okay. Again, water if need be. Whew. Use this time to recover a little bit. Your arms are going to be pretty smoked if you've done all that properly, and we haven't even done any handstands yet. So, you know, it's going to be, you can even split this class up if you need to. Do that element, and then, you know, have a little bit of a breather, and then get into the handstand work. But stick can go away. The two best things that I learned while doing a handstand and learning how to do a handstand was these two drills. The first drill, I might struggle to show you. I might be able to do it here. If I move this just out the way for a second, is going this way, up against the wall, and walking yourself. What am I doing? I don't really want to mark the wall, but I'm going to just have to do. You walk your way up the wall, I wouldn't try this straight away, but you can push yourself like so, up against the wall, so that you feel flat. If you've never done this, be careful, because getting down is definitely not easy. That's something that didn't mark it great. So that's something that you can work up to. What I want everyone to try first, will you be able to see me? Can you see me? Yeah. Is this. So watch first. This is really helpful for working with core positioning. So arms a little bit away from the wall, and then push up, but feet go flat on the wall. So when you've got a poor position, you'll see that anterior tilt. From this position, you can focus on tucking and getting straight, and then when you're straight, you can just bring your feet off and on, off and on. Then when you get a little bit better, all the time growing away from the floor, and then you can slowly start to move off like so. But honestly, if you really want a handstand and you're not quite there yet, the number one thing is obviously practice. Like, practice as much as you can. Get strong in those positions, and by getting strong in those positions is by doing the things that I've just shown you, like the hollow rocks and the pelvic positioning, obviously the pels and rails for different positions, especially shoulder flexion, but also just practicing that drill. Video yourself, side on, look at your pelvic control, then try a handstand. Like, if you're there, you can try a handstand like free form with nothing there. You can get friends to hold their arms either side. So if you wobble one way, they just push you that way. So like if someone's handstanding here, nice and straight, hands are like this, someone's like handstanding, and you just basically knock them. That's if you've got a partner. But then I definitely don't want to hurt myself. But those are the main two drills that I did. Wall walks, the first one, pushing myself nose against the wall, staying nice and flat, really growing from my arms, toes pointing upwards. Practice, practice, practice. And then what you're going to feel when you start to nail the handstand, when you're balancing, you're basically just, your body's going to be going forwards, and you push your fingers into the ground, and then you push the other way. And it's almost just like a balancing act. It's going to be hard to do it on this mat because it's real spongy, and I definitely don't want to bash my foot on that or this, but we'll see. I'm really tired, but so you see I can lean a little bit. There we go. So I'm pushing through my fingers when I feel like I'm going forwards, and then leaning forwards when I feel like I'm going backwards. But the best thing to do is, like, honestly, that second drill I showed you where hands are like a little bit further away from the wall, and don't even worry about having your legs straight. Concentrate on the pelvis here. Squeezing the glutes, squeezing the core, and then slowly coming off and balancing like that. And honestly, for me, that's what really, really helped. So obviously it's a little bit different end to the class, because I'm not gonna make you do certain things if you're feeling fatigued. This is a handstand, you know, you're upside down. Make sure you're doing it somewhere safe. Make sure that you're not really, really buggered and fatigued, so that when you do it, you're gonna hurt yourself. Please be sensible. I'd love to see video footage. I'd love to be able to help. If I see video footage of people doing a handstand, it's much, much easier to help. Practice, do this class, practice at the end. What I'd do now is I'd spend 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if you've got the strength in you, 5, 10, 15 minutes practicing those drills, especially the one I just showed you with your legs or knees at like 90 degrees. That's really, really invaluable drill. And then, you know, when I learned, I just did 10 minutes every morning. I just practiced, and then eventually I got there. And
I guess there's one more thing that I wanted to say. This is going to be really helpful with video footage. If you're doing the handstand, when your head, you don't want to be, if I can try and demonstrate, if I picture like I'm looking about here, it makes it far easier than if I'm looking up like that. If I'm looking up, you're just gonna have a really arched back, which is what we don't want. Your core's gonna be loose, and you topple over time and time again. If you focus on head almost chin not fully tucked, but a little bit tucked, and really pushed from the ground, and grow from the feet, push the feet. So my core's tucked, my glutes are squeezed, I'm pushed into the ground. Bam, booty, yes. So it's great, have fun, let me know. I love doing these classes, I love seeing everyone's progress. There's so much more to come. Just let me know how you go in the community, and share, be positive. Love you all, see you on the next video.